Smartphones didn't kill travel cameras. They just made people forget what real zoom feels like. And the moment you try to capture something far away, a boat cutting through a distant harbor, an eagle perched on a cliff edge half a mile out, your phone gives you noise, blur, and the hollow feeling that the moment got away. 5 Panasonic cameras solved that problem years before anyone was paying attention. And weirdly, impossibly, stubbornly, they still do. Welcome to Alt Buzz Archives, where we go deeper on cameras than anyone else does. And if that sounds like your kind of channel, subscribe right now before we get into it. Here is what most people miss. Smartphones won convenience, social sharing, and computational night photography. Nobody is arguing against that. But somewhere in that relentless optimization for thinness and processing speed, they quietly gave up on something real. The kind of optical reach that lets you feel genuinely connected to a moment happening far away from where you are standing. The Camera and Imaging Products Association reported that built-in lens camera shipments grew nearly 30% year over year in 2025, with another 14% projected for 2026, driven specifically by high magnification zoom cameras. That is not nostalgia. That is a growing group of people rediscovering that a phone, for all its intelligence, cannot replicate what a dedicated travel zoom feels like in your hands. Panasonic understood that long before the revival conversation started, and they built 5 cameras that prove it. At number 5, we have the Panasonic Lumix ZS7, also known as the TZ10 in European markets. And to understand why this camera matters, you have to go back to a moment when the travel zoom category was still finding its identity. There were pocket cameras before the ZS7. There were zoom cameras. But there was something different about what Panasonic delivered here. A feeling that this camera had been designed specifically for the person standing at a check-in counter, with one bag, one destination, and one camera that needed to handle absolutely everything the trip could throw at it. 12 times optical zoom felt like a genuine revelation in context. You were not cropping, not interpolating. You were reaching optically, cleanly, across real distance. The lens covered a range from 25 millimeters wide angle all the way out to 300 millimeters equivalent, which meant it could open up a full coastal landscape and then reach into the scene for detail without you taking a single step. Pair that with GPS tagging at a time when your phone was barely capable of reliable location services. The ZS7 would embed coordinates directly into your file metadata, letting you retrace entire trips through your photographs. And you start to understand why people who own this camera still talk about it with real affection. The sensor, a 12-megapixel CCD, was not the most technically advanced piece of glass ever assembled, but the output had a particular character. Colors rendered with a warmth and saturation that felt natural rather than processed, and that many photographers now associate specifically with this era of Panasonic imaging. Panasonic's Leica-branded lens was doing real work. And you could feel it in the sharpness at mid-range focal lengths where this camera was used most often. People who own this camera consistently mention 2 things: the reach and the feel, a dedicated shutter button, a real zoom lever, the slight weight and tactile resistance of a tool that knew exactly what it was built for. Those seem like small details on a specification sheet. They are not small in practice. They are the difference between grabbing a moment and watching it disappear. The ZS7 was where Panasonic's travel zoom formula became something a real traveler could build a trip around. At number 4, we have the Panasonic Lumix TZ60, also sold as the ZS40 in North America. This is where the story takes a turn that genuinely matters, because up to this point, Panasonic's travel zooms had been excellent tools for convenience-first photographers, people who wanted zoom, simplicity, and a pocketable body. The TZ60 said something different. It said, what if the person carrying this camera actually cares about the craft? The built-in electronic viewfinder changed everything about the shooting experience. Stand in bright midday sunlight with a phone, and you are squinting at a screen, guessing at your framing. Raise the TZ60 to your eye, and something different happens. You are locked in, composed, deliberately inside the frame before you ever press the shutter. That shift, from casual snapping to intentional image making, is not something Panasonic advertised loudly enough. But photographers who used it in real conditions understood immediately. While the zoom range extended to 30 times optical, covering 24mm through 720mm equivalent, a genuinely enormous range for a camera that fit in a jacket pocket. At the long end, you were picking out individual faces in a crowd from across a plaza, or isolating architectural details 60 meters up a building. At the wide end, you had enough field of view to capture a room or a landscape without backing up. Very few cameras at any price have ever done both of those things in the same body. Add RAW file support and the argument becomes even stronger. Shooting RAW means capturing the full uncompressed sensor data, the complete latitude of information in a scene, rather than handing that information to a processor and trusting its judgment. Phones are improving in this area. However, they are not yet giving you that kind of post-processing freedom on every shot and every condition. For a travel photographer who wanted to sit down with Lightroom after a trip and make real editing decisions, the ZS60 was the first camera in this range to take that seriously. The cautions are honest and worth knowing. The electronic viewfinder is small, the Wi-Fi connectivity was clunky by modern standards, and image quality still carried the limits of its sensor class in challenging light. But as a case for why these cameras offered a shooting experience phones genuinely cannot replicate, the ZS60 remains one of the clearest arguments you can make. If you are enjoying this, subscribe to Alt Buzz Archives. This is exactly what we build this channel around. At number 3, we have the Panasonic Lumix ZS90, also known as the ZS70 in North America. And the reason this camera lands in the middle of this list is not that it is the most dramatic entry. It is that it is the most honest one. After the enthusiast pivot of the ZS60, Panasonic had to answer a harder question. How do you keep this category genuinely accessible without letting the value argument collapse? The ZS90 answered by leaning into what travelers actually wanted in the moment. 30 times optical zoom packed into a pocket body, covering 24mm to 720mm equivalent, still feels almost unreasonable when you actually use it. The autofocus system was meaningfully improved over earlier models. Subject tracking was faster, face detection more reliable, which matters when you are trying to capture a moving subject in a busy environment. Low-light performance at wide angle was a genuine step forward for this sensor class. The flip-up touchscreen was a feature that looked gimmicky on paper and proved genuinely useful in practice. For vlogging, above crowd framing in a busy market street, or simply composing a selfie without guesswork, it changed the way people interacted with the camera. 4K video recording at a time when phones were still making that a headline selling point made the ZS90 capable of producing footage that held up in editing. Post-focus shooting, where you could shift the focal point after the shot was taken, was the kind of feature that either delights you immediately or sits unused forever. But its presence said something about how seriously Panasonic was treating this camera. Owner sentiment is consistent and honest. People praise the reach, the versatility across shooting situations, and the fact that it genuinely disappears into a jacket pocket. The criticisms are fair. The sensor is a half-inch type, which imposes real limits in low light, and battery life with the screen and stabilization running hard requires a spare in your bag. But for a traveler who wants a modern, capable tool without a premium price or premium learning curve, the ZS90 remains one of the most approachable travel zooms Panasonic ever produced. It is the camera that proves you do not have to compromise heavily to carry something meaningfully better than a phone. Before the final two cameras, a quick word about what keeps this channel running. Alt Buzz Archives membership is open right now. Core member at $7 a month gets you a loyalty badge, custom emojis, priority replies, even early access, and members-only polls where you shape what we cover next. Elite Partner at $20 a month adds exclusive short-form content, video shoutouts, and members-only material that never appears anywhere else. It is less about the perks and more about being part of a niche camera community that actually thinks carefully about this stuff. Link is in the description. Now back to the cameras. Everything we have covered so far might not matter, because the next camera on this list completely changes what a travel zoom is capable of. And once you understand what happened when Panasonic made this decision, the whole category looks fundamentally different. At number 2, we have the Panasonic Lumix ZS100, also known as the ZS100. This is the moment in Panasonic's travel zoom story where the conversation stopped being about convenient and started being about genuinely impressive. The 1-inch sensor was not a minor upgrade. It was a category statement. Panasonic saying clearly and without hesitation, we are not just making a vacation camera anymore. A 1-inch BSI-CMOS sensor captures significantly more light per pixel than the half-inch sensors in the cameras we have covered so far. That gap is not always easy to describe in a specification sheet, but you feel it the moment you work with the files. You feel it in sunset shots where your phone is lifting shadows artificially and rendering colors through computational interpretation, while this camera simply gives you what the scene actually looked like. You feel it in the dynamic range, holding detail in a bright sky while simultaneously rendering shadow detail in a dark foreground. The kind of technical headroom that makes editing feel like working with real material rather than salvaging compressed data. The ZS100 shot 10 frames per second with autofocus tracking between exposures. For a travel zoom, this was remarkable. It meant you could follow a bird, a cyclist, a breaking wave, and get a sequence of genuinely sharp frames rather than one lucky shot buried in blur. The optical image stabilization worked across all focal lengths, which matters because at even moderate telephoto, you are holding the camera against your breathing and your heartbeat, and stabilization is the difference between a sharp frame and a soft one. The honest caution is the zoom range. The 1-inch sensor required a longer optical path, pulling the zoom back to around 10 times optical, 25 millimeters to 250 millimeters equivalent, compared to the 30 times of the ZS90. For anything requiring extreme reach, that is a real limitation. But what you gain in image quality is meaningful, visible, and the kind of thing that changes how you feel about your photographs when you get home. For photographers who wanted a travel camera that could produce files worth printing, worth editing seriously, worth framing, the ZS100 is one of the most underestimated value stories in the entire compact camera segment. Subscribe to Alt Buzz Archives if you want more content that goes this deep. The catalog keeps growing. At number 1, we have the Panasonic Lumix ZS200, also known as the ZS200. And the reason this camera sits at the top is not because it wins any single specification column. It is because it represents the moment when every argument Panasonic had been building across this entire era finally came together in one pocketable body, 1-inch sensor, 15 times optical zoom, built-in electronic viewfinder, compact travel-ready design. This is the camera that makes the title of this video feel earned. The 1-inch sensor here is the same generation used in cameras that cost significantly more, and the results show it. Raw files have real latitude. Colors are accurate and consistent across the zoom range. High ISO performance, useful in dim restaurants, cathedrals, evening markets, is meaningfully better than anything in the half-inch sensor class. There is a tactile quality to the output from this sensor that you notice immediately when you compare files side by side. A three-dimensionality to subjects, a way the background separates from the foreground, that no smartphone in this price range has convincingly replicated. The 15 times optical zoom covers 24 millimeters to 360 millimeters equivalent. That is a genuine working range for travel, wide enough for interiors and landscapes, long enough to isolate a subject across a public square or pick out detail in a distant building facade. The fact that Panasonic managed to push the zoom range back up while keeping the 1-inch sensor is the single biggest engineering achievement in this lineup. You are not choosing between quality and reach, you are getting both in a body that fits in a jacket pocket. Think about what a single real trip actually demands. In the morning, you are shooting wide coastal landscapes. By midday, you are in a crowded market needing speed and instinct. In the late afternoon, you are watching birds of prey riding thermals 300 meters out, and you need real optical reach. Not a simulation, not a digital crop. In the evening, a dim restaurant tests your sensor and your patience equally. The TZ200 is the first camera in this lineup that handles all of those scenarios without asking you to make a serious concession in any single one. Not because it is perfect, because it is complete. The enthusiast community has been consistent about this for years. The combination of the 1-inch sensor and the optical zoom range is always the headline. The electronic viewfinder, modest in physical size but genuinely useful in strong ambient light, is a working asset rather than a marketing point. The Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connectivity, clunky in earlier Panasonic travel zooms, was finally refined enough to actually use. Owners describe this as the camera they reach for when they want to travel light, but still feel like they brought something real. The price reflects what it is. No other compact has matched this formula in quite the same way, and that fact, more than any single benchmark, is why the TZ200 is the most complete travel zoom Panasonic ever built. 5 cameras, 5 different arguments, a category far more resilient than anyone predicted. With a ZS7 as your historical anchor, the camera that turned a clever concept into a genuine mass-market solution before smartphones even understood the problem. The TZ60 is the enthusiast favorite, the clearest argument that these cameras offered a shooting experience built on intention, not just convenience. The TZ90 is the most approachable entry point, modern, versatile, honest about its limits, and genuinely useful for a casual traveler who wants real reach without a steep learning curve. The TZ100 is the value sleeper, the most underestimated camera on this list, and the most interesting find on the second-hand market right now. And the TZ200 is the smartest buy, the most complete answer to the travel photography question, and the camera that makes every trade-off feel worth it. Smartphones did not fail us. They simplified everything. And in that process, they quietly gave something up. Real zoom flexibility that lets you reach across a landscape with glass rather than code. Physical shooting experience that makes photography feel like a decision rather than a reflex. These 5 cameras represent a period when Panasonic understood travel photography in a way that feels almost prescient now. The category never died. It just waited for the world to catch up to what it had always been trying to say. If this gave you something real, a camera to look for, a new way to think about travel photography, or just the satisfaction of knowing this era existed, support the channel directly. Super Thanks is available right now, membership is open, both linked in the description, and subscribe. Because the next video is already in progress. Because sometime, the future of cameras is not new. It is what we forgot to replace.